A dynamic, caring, and personable leader, Starr Mason has distinguished herself with nearly 25 years of service to Hair Cuttery family of brands. In that time, she has been awarded Field Education Leader of the Year and led her teams to numerous company honors over the years. Humble by nature, Starr says that she is always looking to grow and learn professionally, adding that everyone is my teacher. She leads virtual and in-person training sessions for salon professionals and leaders throughout the company, including a recent program aimed at improving work-life balance, about which she is passionate about. Of course, as a longtime beauty professional and stylist, Starr can walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to hairstyling, which we're gonna get into today. She loves to create She loves to create sets on natural hair, long and short layered haircuts, wet sets on natural hair and relaxed hair, and color and foil highlighting. Starr is Redken-certified in color and finishing. Her specialty is cutting, coloring, and finishing textured hair. Her combination of hairstyling knowledge and genuine empathy makes her an ideal field educator and leader and brand ambassador for Hair Cuttery family of brands. Whoo! All right, Starr, that was a mouthful. You've done some things in 25 years. Congrats on your success.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are so excited to have you here. We want to dive in, but first of all, we're going to take it back 25 years ago. Tell us about how you got started in the industry.
So, it's funny because I was just sharing this story with one of the salon professionals today. I basically started out, we went to a mall one day and I saw this Vidal Sassoon video. You know how you used to go through the mall and they used to show all the videos?
Yeah.
And the guy was round brushing this lady's hair. And I thought, that looked way cool. So I went home, took all of my friends who had highly textured hair, got a round brush, because I said, Mommy, I need a round brush. She gave me a round brush and I got it stuck in everybody's hair. We had to cut it out of one girl's hair and I figured, okay, let me do somebody else's. And got it stuck in the next girl's hair because I had no clue what I was doing. And I'm talking about maybe like 7 or 8, 9 or 10 years old. And then
you were young.
It was very young, because then I got into braiding hair. So I was the braider of my community. Everybody came to me to get cornrows or braids. And then when I got to high school, I realized that hair was actually, I knew there was beauty parlors and stuff like that, but we didn't go to beauty parlors when I grew up. We did our hair at home in the kitchen, press and curl. I knew how to press and curl. I knew how to do all of that stuff. So when I got to high school, there was an opportunity to go to cosmetology and I jumped at it. So I did cosmetology in my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year in high school.
Whoa. All right. I love that you can
30 years. Yeah.
That's incredible. That you can like parallel path finishing up your high school degree and then be ready once you graduate to get out there and start in the industry.
Well, I didn't. I came in the industry right out of high school, and then I had a detour. I had a detour for about 10 years.
Okay.
And I became a recreation leader of a day camp. So I played with kids all day. But what I didn't know during my journey was that part of my life was really huge to where I am today, because I learned to coach there. I learned to have empathy for people when they are learning something for the first time. So I learned how to be me, basically, in my 10 years off. So when I came back to hair 10 years later, I came to Hair Cuttery, and I've been with them since.
Wow. And what was that decision to come to specifically Hair Cuttery? Do you remember thinking like, this is going to be the home for me? Was it by chance that you've been there this long? Like, tell us about that journey.
None of that. So my goal was to get away from where I lived, because I think that in that time, in that season, I was doing a lot of people's hair for free. So I wanted to get away from where I lived. So I drove 30 miles out. My mentor at the time was like, come out here, do hair. It was 30 miles from my home. And it was 2 salons in the parking lot. And it was one salon where we won't name, and then Hair Cuttery. So I sat in the car and I said, okay, Lord, whoever greets me with open arms, that's where I'm going. So I went
All
to the
right.
first salon and not so much. I went back to my car and I said, I don't want to work for Hair Cuttery. And it was so funny because at that time I thought the Hair Cuttery they didn't specialize in curly texture is what I thought. And so I sat in the car and I know I had an agreement with my upper. So I was like, I went into Hair Cuttery and that salon leader was so excited. She was like, yes, yes, I can interview. Like, can you interview right now? And then I thought, okay, she's too happy, but it was so cute. So I literally did a small interview with her, came back a week later, did a technical interview. And like just the opportunity, I did not know that Hair Cuttery had what it had to offer. And I understood immediately what I liked about working for an organization and what was the benefits for me working for an organization. So
Amazing.
basically, it wasn't my first choice, but I'm glad it was my choice.
Right. I mean, there was divine power behind you, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, right? I
yes,
mean,
absolutely.
threw it up there. For those of you, or for our listeners out there thinking, oh, I do want to get into cosmetology school. What is some advice that you have for them, whether they're, in high school right now, whether they're already down a career path? What's your advice for them?
So, I would say is to follow your passion and follow your dreams because the hair industry, it never gets the best rap because people always like find a real career. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a real career,
Yeah.
especially if you love it. Like people get up every morning and they force themselves to go to work. I get up, even though I had to be up this morning and out my house by 6:30, I wasn't going to go to work. I was going to go have fun with new
Mm,
salon professionals to teach them some new things about color or whatever the case may be. So I would say follow your passion.
yeah.
If you're getting into it because you love it, then it will outweigh the hard times. It will outweigh the learning curves. It'll outweigh the difficult times when it seems like it's really hard.
Yeah.
It'll outweigh all of that. And I would just say follow your passion. If your passion is
Okay.
for it, then be able to communicate that passion to your family and friends because those are the ones they really are looking out for you. They want the best for you. And sometimes you have to convince them that hair is the best.
I know there's that stigma, right, around, as you mentioned, beauty school, what that looks like. My mom was a stylist and salon owner for 40 years. And so I have just such an affinity for the industry, and I know firsthand what a career can look like in the industry. But for those of you listening out there that don't, how do you break that stigma? I mean, what do you say to your parents or your loved ones, significant other that are like, no, this isn't real? Like, go to college, work in corporate America. Like, why this? Why cosmetology school?
I think that for me, I really focus on, like I said before, my passion or
Yeah.
your passion. I think that helping your loved ones understand that you're very gifted with your hands. You're very gifted in communicating with people. You like to make people smile. You like to make people shine.
Right.
And the reality of it is, a college degree is still not a bad thing to have.
Sure.
So if you go to cosmetology and you get your license, we have a lot of students or a lot of salon professionals that have their license and they are still going to school. So you can still do both and then have the best of both worlds simply
Yeah.
because now you have the business side of what college could give you, and then you have your technical side of what education can give you. So
Yeah.
it really is, sometimes you have to kind of do that. Okay, I'll go to school if you pay for my cosmetology license as well.
Mm, sure.
Or if you take it in high school, then mom, I'm still going to go to school. I just want to be able to do hair on the side. And then hopefully the passion for hair would become more than just on the side.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. You mentioned early on that you had a mentor. Tell me about that mentor or the mentors that you've had, starting at the beginning of your journey.
So my first mentor, her name was Vanessa Williams, and she still is my mentor,
Oh,
actually.
good. Awesome.
She is the one who helped me in my journey of discovering my real love for passion.
Okay.
I had so many different things that I wanted to do because hair was always been that hair was always been my thing, but I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted to be a
Dang.
paramedic. I wanted to work with kids. So I
Yeah.
was dreaming big. I wanted to go in the army. I wanted
Yeah.
to do all
Cool.
those things. And she basically said, you do my hair all the time. Have you thought about going back into hair? And I'm like, yeah, I got my
Mm,
license. Why not?
mhm.
So literally her and I talked about it. That's when we decided to drive down 30 miles away. And that's when I started to get into hair. My mentor, we just basically talked about just getting back into hair.
Yeah.
And she helped me realize that as I was chasing all of these other dreams in my life, my first passion, I should just go back to that and get back into hair. So that's what I did.
That's amazing. I love it. And so then the journey with hair cuttery, tell me about kind of that process. You started there. How did you get to where you are today? What were those milestones and steps?
Okay, so I started out as a part-time stylist because when I came to hair cuttery, I was working two other jobs. So
Wow.
I was just going to get my feet in the door and get my feet wet. And ultimately my goal was to go off and do my own thing, open up my own salon, which is what you hear most new salon professionals say.
Mm,
So that was my goal. When I got into hair cuttery, I worked as a part-time stylist, and then I became an assistant. I quit my other two jobs and came to hair cuttery full time, and that was probably like within like a year. I loved it that much, and I love my salon leader who became my new mentor
okay.
in the hair industry. I became her assistant. And then from there, she went out on maternity leave and I became acting salon leader. And
Mm.
that's when I realized, ooh, salon leadership, you got to have a special heart for salon leadership. And then also during that same time, they had asked me to do a fear of finishing class. And it was basically a class that would help salon professionals understand how to finish textured hair. So they gave me a kit with everything I needed in it, a blow dryer, flat iron, and different things like that. And they said, here's what we want you to cover. Go do that. So
Wow.
I was like, okay. So that's when I started going out to the different salons and doing in salon classes. And because it was kind of like they had an outline, but they didn't tell me how to do it because it was a learning curve for them as well. I literally just started teaching class. And that's when I realized that I really had a knack for it and I had a passion for it. And that's what tied me back to my cheerleading coach days, my track coaching days, because I learned all of those skills to coach people when they weren't comfortable
Mm,
um, when I brought those skills with me to hair cutting. And
yeah.
because this was one of those positions where, we need your help, go out, here's a small stipend for what you're doing, there was an opportunity to become an advisor. And
Okay.
I became a KMS advisor. That was the
Mm,
product line that we carried at that time. And I absolutely loved it. That's when they officially took me through facilitation. And I never knew all that you needed to know to teach a class. Like I was just doing my thing and did what came natural to me.
yeah.
And then they added all of the ABCs and the one, two, threes to it to make me be able to reach every learning style and different things like that. And then from being a KMS advisor, 5 years later, I became the RDL, which was the regional development leader, which
Okay.
is the same position now, which is the field education leader. And I've been doing this since. So,
Wow.
and I've had other positions inside. Like we used to have this program called Hair Cuttery Way, and it was a system that allowed a new salon professional come in and learn hair cuttery's way. How do we greet a guest? How do we treat a guest? Making sure that all our salons had the same brand.
Yeah.
So, and I was sharing that today. If you go to McDonald's, you expect the same hamburger at McDonald's, just like we want our guests to get the same exact service, whether they're in Virginia, Chicago, or Florida. We want them to have that same exact service. And that's what was Hair Cuttery's way. So I did
Yeah.
that. And then they merged those two positions into one. And that's how we came up with the field education leader, which is I help facilitate technical and soft skill classes in the
Mm,
field.
amazing. What are some of the soft skills that you see are missing the most that you have to teach on?
Well, I think the one thing is customer service. I
Yeah.
think everybody thinks that it is just you give them what they want, and that's customer service.
Yeah.
Guests are looking for an experience, and our
Yeah.
goal in this industry should be able to give them an experience. It's not just a haircut, it's not just a blow dry to them. Our
Yeah.
hair is our glory. Our hair walks in before we walk in. So we want to make sure that that always looks good. And
Yeah.
then also we just started rolling out a class about over a year ago called Blueprint. And I absolutely love this class because it's teaching our stylists how to balance their life. Because
Okay.
sometimes when we work, we get so concentrated on either work and then
Hmm.
we leave home, friends, vacations, we leave all of that to the side. What this program does, you create this life pie. And in this
Mm,
life pie, you take a real look at how your life balances out, where you are given too much of and where you're not given enough. And then we talk
okay.
about ways to balance your life pie out, because usually it's just one or two things that gear us. Is either time or money. So what do we
Yeah.
need to do to help you manage your time? And then how can we as an organization help you make more money so that you can manage your time?
Awesome. That's amazing. Is that class well received, I can imagine?
Anytime you teach a creative person a soft skill class, they usually sometimes come kicking and screaming. But by,
Yeah.
I'd say about 10 minutes in the class, light bulbs are going off. They are having ahas. They are they are turning their lives around with this class. And every time I teach it, I learn something new about myself. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm supposed to have been working on that. Or, oh, I'm doing really good there. Oh, my pie is lopsided again. So we always say your pie is like a flat tire. You got some areas where you do really well, and then
Mm.
some areas where you go flat on. So it really is about identifying the areas that you need to improve on and trying to do things to make them better. And it really is about having a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why do you feel this is probably a very general question, but why is the work-life balance important for pros?
Because it's real easy to get burnt out.
Yeah.
First of all, if you don't love what you do, it almost becomes a chore.
Yeah.
And then even if you love what you do, if you don't have the balance, then it just seems like you're just treading in one area all the
Yeah.
time. And then things become irritated that usually didn't irritate you. So
Yeah.
it really is about finding work balance, but it also is finding balance if you have your children. How much time are you spending with them? How much time do you spend with yourself? Because a
Mhm.
lot of times we go from work to home, work to home, work to home, and learning to take advantage of the times in the cars. Like I do my self-help books while I'm riding in the
Mm.
car. If I got a 2-hour journey, this is a great time for me to catch up with friends and then also read a book or listen to a
Yeah.
book.
Right. That's a great tip. What are some other tips for creating that healthy work-life balance that you found to be helpful for your team?
I would say finding a mentor as well.
Mhm.
One of the things we do as field education leaders is we have a team of educators that work alongside of us. So they do classes as well. We meet with them once a week or once every 2 weeks to just kind of talk about making sure that their world is balanced, because it can get really hard as a leader in the company. And education, you're the face of the company because
Yeah.
everybody knows all the educators. We want to make sure that every time you show up to class that you feel good about what you're doing,
Yeah.
not only in the salon but in the classroom. And then we also spend time to get to know each other, because I think you can connect with people when you get to know them. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing with guests that walk in the door. Educators are the face of the company. They are who everyone sees. You connect with everyone. And our goal is to make sure that when you show up to a class or in the salon, that you have a a very well balanced life. So
Yeah.
we even find out how you're doing personally. We like to celebrate when you celebrate. It's one of those things that, like at my church, we say it all the time, how we do life together. And I
Yeah.
like to take that same mentality to my workplace. I want to do life with you. Like, I don't have to be all in your business, but I want to know what made you happy this weekend so I can
Yeah.
celebrate with you. Or if you have a sad moment, that I can go in peace with you, or whatever that is.
That's so kind. I love that. I love that so much. I can tell that you are very empathetic and caring as a leader. I love that you
Thank
said that.
you.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about curly hair.
Okay.
So a reoccurring theme that we hear from guests that come out of beauty school is that they do not have the tools to handle curly textured hair. So what are we missing in schools from an education standpoint around textured hair?
So here's what I would say. I don't think we're missing anything. And
Okay.
I know I might get shot in the foot for this one, because school teachers, a cosmetology school teacher's main objective is to get you past state board. And there are so many things you need to know when it comes to state board. Yes, they teach you cutting and they teach you color. Should texture hair be in there? Probably, but it would probably make the course even longer.
Okay.
I think it's a salon professional's goal is to seek more education. This 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 career that we chosen just doesn't stop with your
Mm,
1,500 hours or whatever your time frame is. It is a constant ongoing learning. I had a salon leader in class today, and he says he's been doing hair for over 40 years, and all day he kept saying, I just learned something. I just
wow.
learned something, because
Yeah.
it is, because styles change, techniques change, the way we do things change. And when it comes to textured hair, it is definitely a learning curve, especially if you were not born with it. Some of
Yeah.
us were born with it, so we are used to it. It's just like, it's the same learning curve when I had to learn how to round brush. I mean, round brushing was, like I told you, my nightmare. So by the time I got to beauty school, I wasn't picking up a round brush because that thing doesn't work. So I had to learn how to round brush. So again, a learning curve for me as well. So I think it's just about continue education and the salon professionals taking ownership of their education.
Yeah, I love that. What are some common misconceptions about working with curly and textured hair?
The most common is that it can handle anything you do to it. It needs the
Ah,
highest volume of developer when you're doing a color. It can handle the highest amount of heat. And all of that is just not so. Sometimes when you're dealing with that 4C hair, which is that really tight, curly zigzag hair, which is what my hair is when I'm not wearing a an extended style,
uh-huh.
my hair cannot handle a lot of heat, because
Mm,
if you give it a lot of heat or a lot of passes of heat, it tends to burn my ends. My
yeah.
hair will go to a level 6 or 7 with 10 volume in
Oh,
seconds. And this because
hmm.
my hair is very thirsty. A lot of natural curly or textured hair girls, their hair is thirsty, especially
Hmm.
when I say thirsty, I mean it's just dry, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I like to say thirsty
I
because
like
that
that.
sounds a little bit better than your hair is dry. So thirsty sounds a lot better. So it is really about helping them understand to build the moisture in their hair, actually helps their curls look more vibrant,
Hmm.
and it also allows their curl to be able to handle a little bit more heat and different things like that. But I think that's the biggest thing, is that textured hair just can't handle everything.
Yeah, no, I love that. Great point, because I can assume that that is a mistake that some sort of new to textured hairstylists make. They just
Yes.
have the broad assumption, off they go, and then the result probably
Exactly.
isn't great.
Exactly. Like I used 30 volume because her hair was so curly. And I'm like, so what happened? And they're like, oh my, it was like bright yellow, like in minutes. I was like, so what'd you do?
Mhm.
So it really is helping them. Like one of our mottos is that we want to teach you how to formulate for yourself versus
Mm,
somebody just telling you what to do, because that means that you're always going to be dependent on someone
sure.
helping you through the process. And the goal is to train you so that you understand what happens, so then you can really formulate for anybody,
Yeah.
whether their hair is textured or not. Because the motto in beauty school is hair, because it's either going to be fine, medium, or coarse, and it's going to be straight to extra curly.
Okay. Got it. Very, very, very cool. I love your explanation. Tell us why, you know, those listening should start a career at hair cuttery. If they're thinking, where should I go?
Where should you go? You should start at
Yeah.
Hair Cuttery. And I say that because Hair Cuttery family of brands, our doors are open for everyone. We have what we have in now in some of our markets is a student to work program.
Oh,
And that student to work program is a salon, is a student that is in her last couple of months of beauty school. We bring them in while they're still in school, and we teach them our way, which is our mission, value, and purpose. And then we also teach them, they can attend all of our color classes, all of our
wow.
texture classes. So we offer education virtually and in person, and we offer, and this is all free to them. So Hair Cuttery One provides an excellent work environment. Everybody next to you has the same work code as you do, and that was one of the things that I love. I didn't work beside someone who didn't want to show up, or, wanted to set all this crazy stuff on their station. Like our salons look nice and clean and neat.
Mhm, mhm.
And then also the free education. The free education is top notch because our RTAs are trained by the field education leader and our director of education. And we make sure that they have all the information they need to teach classes, whether they're virtual and in person.
I love it. So it's a whole host of reasons why.
It is.
I
Education.
love
And then
that.
also, there are different tiers and pricing here at Hair Cuttery. So let's
Oh,
say, for example, you're just starting out and you're just learning, so your price point is a little bit lower. But let's say you've been in the industry for 15 years and you want to come work for a company. Hair Cuttery is a great place as well, because you can come in, if you already have clientele, you can come in making more money or comfortable to where you were in your other salon. So I
okay.
love that about it as well. So we're not just for people who are just starting out, we're for anybody and everybody in the industry.
All right. Great point all around. This was so fun getting to know you. You elude passion for what you do, which is so lovely. Now we want to talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
So we have this little thing we call the tease quick takes, and I'm gonna shout out a question to you, and we would love your quick take back if you're game
Okay.
for it.
I am.
All right. What is a quote that you love?
So the quote that I love is, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
Oh,
And the reality of it is, whether it's good or bad, there is a learning opportunity there. So when something bad happens, I have to say, okay, what's my learn here?
yeah.
And if something good happens, I'm like, okay, thank you. So it
Mhm.
really is, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
I love it. What was your last Google search?
Let's Google. Okay, so it's funny because I just finished the Station 19 series
Okay.
on,
Yeah.
Hulu. So where it left off, old boy was leaving, and I was like, I need to know, is there another season? And yes, they picked it up for the sixth season. It starts in October. So then I
Okay.
wanted to listen to some interviews, but yet I didn't have.
I love it. Okay. You have to know if you're going to get your fix again. That's awesome.
Yes, exactly. But I still got to wait a year because I can't watch one episode at a time.
I can't
I got
either.
I got to see them all at one time.
What is the cringiest trend you have ever tried?
The cringiest. So back when I was out of high school, and they used to wear all your clothes backwards. So
Okay.
we would wear our jeans inside out and backwards. You would wear your shirts inside out and backwards. And me and my girlfriend lived in Alexandria, and we got on the subway without anybody's permission and
Oh.
rode it to Anacostia with backwards clothes. Yeah, yeah, we did that one time. One time. That's all it took was one time. Yeah, never again.
One time and you were done. That's good. I love that one. Okay. What animal are you most like?
Animal am I most like? Ah, I don't know. The first thing that came to mind was a rabbit.
Okay.
And I don't know what a rabbit symbolizes. So when I get off of here, I'm going to look up what a rabbit symbolizes. But I thought of a rabbit because rabbits can be nice and cuddly, and they'll sit and let you play, because I grew up with pet rabbits.
Okay.
And then when they are done, they just hop away and they go into their next journey. So I
Yeah.
think that, I mean, like, even though, and I'm trying to, now I'm psychoanalyzing this, because my journey with hair cuttery has been 24 years, because I am a lifer. I buy a car for life. I'm with my mate for life. I'm a lifer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means with the rabbit thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now we're both going to Google it after we're done.
If it's good,
Uh,
use it. If it's not, don't use it.
okay. What is one product that you cannot live without?
One product that I
Mhm.
cannot live without.
Yes.
Product that I cannot live without. So, and I know it said I couldn't use one of my products. Is that still the truth, or I can use one of my?
You can give it whatever comes to mind.
Okay, so the product that I cannot live without now is the Cebu Curl and Coral leave-in spray
Okay.
cream. It is a conditioning spray cream for curly hair. I spray it on even with my braids, because it still gives me the moisture that I need, and it disappears. So it's not like it sits on really heavy and I
Yeah.
work it in. It allows me to wear my protective styles a little bit longer, because it's still protecting my scalp and giving my scalp the moisture that it needs. So that has become my go-to product.
No thirsty hair for you.
No thirsty hair for me, because sometimes when you're in a protective style, if
Yeah.
you do not moisturize correctly, it can be just as bad as all the damage you could do when it's out. So you
Okay.
want to make sure that you're still moisturizing. So yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Got it. And what is advice for those who want to make it to the top of our industry?
I would just say education, 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 and
Mm.
stay consistent and keep your passion. It really is. It's a journey. It's not you wake up one morning and you are a superstar. I still don't
Yeah.
see myself as a superstar. I see myself as someone who loves what she does and loves sharing what she does, and just keeping a passion for it.
Yeah.
It is definitely a journey, but you got to be consistent and not give up. But that's in
Yeah.
anything that you do.
Yeah. Right. Well, Starr, I find you to be a superstar. So there. Congratulations on your wonderful career. I love your passion. I
Thank
love your
you.
insight. It was so fun to get to know you. And thank you for joining us at Volume Up by the Tees.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.